Well, I interviewed Jason Williams, the basketball player. You know his story?
Which Jason Williams? The white chocolate or the other one?
No, Jason Williams, a black guy.
The black guy with the shotgun. And,
he accidentally shot his limo driver.
Yeah.
Right. Then try to cover up the whole crime and, ended up doing a couple of years over there.
Right.
Here's this guy who had like a $16 million contract or something that he got to walk away with.
Right.
It's worth tens of millions of dollars. He gets out of prison. He's staying in hotel rooms because no one would rent an apartment to him.
Right.
Because he's a felon.
Right.
He tries to buy a house at these gated communities. And they go through his record and say, we don't want this guy here. We don't care how much money you got. We don't want a felon.
Where's his accountant? Where's his lawyer?
Well, see, I never realized this. In fact, as I don't have any felonies on my record, so I've never had problems renting, whatever I wanted.
You buy an estate in Jamaica and be good.
Oakland has now become the first city in California to ban landlords from checking someone's criminal record.
I commend that. And that's the thing, because I deal with prison reform all the time, weekly, and the recidivism is so high just based off of the fact that you can't function in society when you've been in prison so long because society won't allow you to. Society won't let you get a job. There's programs now that are trying to get that. Have you ever been convicted of a felony off of a job resume?
I really don't have a problem with that because, I remember when I talked about this with Trey D, who was a convicted felon.
Yeah.
He said it's not about doing your time and paying your debt to society. It's about forever punishment. The point of prison is supposed to be rehabilitation.
It's not. It's forever punishment.
Forever punishment.
Yeah, it is.
When you have a felony on your record, you cannot do the things that regular citizens can do forever.
Ever.
You cannot get a job.
You can't
cannot
own a
get
gun.
an apartment.
Can't vote.
You can't vote. So it's like, what do you expect will happen with a person that is put into this situation? What do you expect?
Recidivism.
Really? Like what do you expect to happen when you cannot legally get an apartment or you cannot get a job? You are going to make your money through illegal means.
Right. It's a cycle, a vicious cycle.
Which will end up what? Putting you back in prison
Recidivism. Yeah.
It just seems like it defeats the purpose of prison. Because the whole point of prison is to rehabilitate and to improve society, right? Because if it wasn't, you might as well just give everyone life that does anything.
Right.
You stole from the grocery store, life in prison.
It's just gonna take time because eventually that's the whole purpose. It's the school to prison pipeline. I call it the cradle to prison pipeline. It's designed like, you're going to end up in prison eventually, and then we want you to die there. You're either going to die there or you're going to die out in these streets until we alleviate and wipe out your entire race.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, some of my closest friends have done a lot of prison time. Honestly, like literally some of my best friends are people that have done a lot of prison time. And these are some of the best people that I know.
And when they get out, all they're trying to do is figure out how not to go back. They don't want to go back.
Who wants to go back, man?
Who wants to go back to a cage? But if society's not allowing you, like you said, you can't even rent an apartment. You can't get a job. What am I supposed to do?
What am I supposed to do? There's one option, and that is to do something illegal. To do something that does not require a job application.
Right.
Or, you're forced to live off of like women, which is degrading as a man.
Yeah. Which would then force you to do something illegal.
Yeah. And honestly, when I really take a step back and think about it now, growing up in the Bay, pimp culture is really prominent.
Strong.
Oh yeah, I get my
pimp
money off.
Strong.
I treat, Mac Dre, I treat my bitch like an ATM card. Like,
right.
Yeah, I'm living off a bitch. All this is off a bitch, off a bitch,
Charge
off a bitch, off a bitch. Charge it to a bitch. I wonder how much of that is, I have a felony on my record and this woman is the only way for me to actually survive.
And she's shown me, she's such a queen. She loves me and honors me so much that she would degrade herself and sell her body for me.
Or not even do that, or just financially, fund our existence.
Right.
And I turn this, and the shame I have as a man of letting, because honestly, that's some weak ass shit.
Right.
As a
man who believes that they are a provider and wants to take care of every woman
I'm a provider. I'm a provider.
Yeah.
For as long as I can remember,
I like taking care of women.
I like taking care of women. I'm not on no pimp shit ever in life.
Right.
I like doing that shit. It makes me feel good that I'm the one that's paying, for this lifestyle.
For everything.
And for everything.
Right.
I'm cool with that.
Right.
You want to call me a trick, whatever. I don't give a shit.
I'm good with it.
You know what I'm saying?
It's rather than having a woman take care of me.
I have never had a woman take care. In fact, I remember this one time when I was dating this one girl. She was Indonesian, and you know how in these third world Asian countries, like the 1% owns everything. She very wealthy family, everything else like that. It always made me feel uncomfortable that she was like paying for dinner and I was driving her BMW and that type of shit. It made me feel less of a man.
Right.
So you can't tell me that all these dudes that are living off women are proud of themselves. I think that they're justifying it in their head.
Ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ego.
They feel degraded themselves. They're actually holding themselves out.
Yeah.
How many dudes do you know of that are like fucking for a place to stay?
Trust me.
It's called they're called hobosexuals.
Hobosexuals.
They're having sex to avoid being hobos.
Yeah. That's hilarious.